Am I weird right now? Because if
No.
I'm weird right now, I'm sorry, man. Like, dude, I don't know.
Dude, you guys see that? The hormones kick in and it starts flying around and changing everything to gold, including, I think, glom gold.
Doom, doom, doom.
What we gonna do with all the cash?
Doom, doom, doom.
Smoke hash.
Doom, doom, doom,
And then we thrash.
Happened in the 90s.
Yeah, you go too deep on that. It's a dangerous game, but there's a time and a place where you're high and you have like a bunch of really close friends that you all are kind of like on the same wavelength, and you're just like, wait, you haven't seen this? And just like
Yeah,
shock and awe, dude. I love that.
that becomes a thing. Yeah, because it's like you want to be the guy to put everybody on the stuff. Like that's always like it's kind of a flex. Like, yeah, I put you. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't know about this thing.
There is a satisfaction when you show something to somebody, whether it's music or a movie or a crazy video, that if you're the person, you're like, and they like it, or they, you get what you want out of it. You're like, hell yeah. Yes. Yes. And you're cool. You're cool.
Yeah, I knew you'd like it. I'm glad you like it. Thank me.
Yeah. But
Thank
see, but
you.
like Jackie Brown, Steve, you should get a lot of satisfaction from the fact that you made a movie, my favorite movie. You know what I'm saying? That's a
I
flex.
can't believe you hadn't seen it at that point, man. Tarantino. It's Tarantino. I figured at that point you had seen Tarantino stuff.
Dude, honestly, I'm like, when we got into college and stuff, and like being around you and Jordan and stuff, that's really when I got like deep into like over just being a cinephile. Like, I guess you could call that. Other than that, like before that, I was just into like the shit everybody was into. I was into movies, but it was just like, oh, dude, Star Wars, fucking Gladiator. You saw my collection when I moved in. It was still stellar. Steve.
You talking about when we first
Like moved into freshman year. It wasn't huge. I didn't have a job, but like for most of that time, so it was just like a lot of the good.
You
shit.
wasted no time though.
No,
you wasted like because you were already working at Giant Eagle, so like the supply is right there every day.
And the statute of limitations is up. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff.
Because it would be a new one. Shit, I think you average probably about two at least a week, maybe
two, unless a video game came out. If a video game came out, that took precedent. Like when NBA Street came out or something, I had to get that because that was also the flex. Whenever you had the new video game first thing, that was dope, especially in the dorms because like everyone just poured into the room that had whatever it was. So that was cool. But
it was a movie, man.
Yeah. But those movies, dude, yeah, like we talked about it last week. We would just go to Myers or Best Buy, and it's like this experience doesn't exist. You don't go to a store and just buy physical stuff at random for sure. Like I was just like, oh, here's a weird comedy I've never heard of, or here's a Spanish like I would even go foreign language films, Steve. Yeah, City of God, dude. City of God. Like I'm so glad I did. It's the best movie. It's one of the best movies ever made. Yeah. But we were going out and just like, hey, fuck it. Let's see what this is about. And you get surprised. And that's what's cool about being into movies. But yeah, I'm not buying random movies anymore. There's a lot of wasted money there just to have a box on a shelf. Like, hey, do you want My Name is Modesty? I don't know. Don't try.
Well, if rental stores still existed and you worked at one, would you still say that?
Hell no. I mean, it just doesn't exist like that anymore. But like to think back, like all the things that I wish I had now that I just don't have access to, like the Clerks cartoon DVD set and stuff like that was just kind of like special, and you could get it, but it's just not the same, Steve. But I will say we're talking about Tenacious D this week, and man. There's a couple things that I've had to make myself just get because I want everything that was on the DVD. The Tenacious D Masterworks DVDs that I used to have, that was like the 2-disc set.
Yes, sir.
I had to go buy that again. So that's still in the collection. I watch that every once in a while.
Man, the first time I watched this series, it was with you and Jordan and my roommate, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first time we did shrooms, man. And y'all, like you and Jordan, were like our babysitters, and I want to thank you for that, man. I feel like that's an important role to play for first timers, man. Like,
Sure. Hell
you
yeah. It's
know,
called being a shaman, dude. You got to be the
yeah,
guide for your buddies sometimes. And I think
and
that's cool to do. We didn't do it a lot. We used to just jump head first. Like when I took shrooms, it was just the first time I did it actually was with you. And I just ate a couple
yeah.
of stems in the dorm and watched you play Madden and shit. But you were
Oh,
my
dude.
shroom guide, Steve. You were just playing Madden, you know?
But yeah, I didn't know like the importance of all of that and how much, everything plays into it. But I just
Hell yeah.
remember you like, man, Steve, dude, I love you, man. And me not ever tripping at that time, like, all right, bro. I
Cool,
don't hate
bro.
you.
Yeah. Let me just get back into this fantasy Madden thing and you can just watch me play that. Yeah. Hell yeah. But that's the cool thing about shrooms, man. You get a little honest with them, you know?
For
And
sure, man.
it is a wild you just gotta it's cool to do them like and just kind of be fucking wild, but it is cool to have some bros there just to kind of ground you and be like, dude, it's cool, dude. Like, because sometimes you do need that. Like, if you're not used to that shit, somebody has to be like, dude, it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be done soon. Just chill out, you know. Take a
Like,
hit of this pop.
am I weird right now? Because if
No,
I'm weird right now, I'm sorry, man. Like, dude, I don't know.
dude, you guys see that?
I felt like Tenacious D was talking to me.
I mean, they
Like,
probably were, dude. The rock fucking gets into your soul, Steve.
and like, what a series to watch when you're tripping.
Yeah. Probably me and Jordan were also singing the songs.
We were all singing the song.
That's why I love Tenacious D, Steve. It makes me feel like I could be a front man, and it's such a fun, like, their songs are so fun to sing. It's a great
The lyrics,
karaoke
yeah.
jam. We'll get
And
into it. Shout out to Jables. I rest in peace, Tenacious D, but they're not done, Steve. They're gonna come back.
if it's meant to be, Matt, so it will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that made sense. I'm trying to be all Yoda. We're talking about shamans and shit. Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your end of days tapes and your Days of Thunder posters. Because with karate, I'll kick your ass.
From
Here,
here
in
to
the
Tiananmen Square.
Oh, yeah, motherfucker. I'm going to kick your fucking dare. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
broke
broke the rules.
rules.
Now I
No,
pull out
you big head.
yeah. You motherfucker.
Today, my friend, we're talking all things November 28th in the 90s. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Starting off in 1990, the final episode of DuckTales airs, The Golden Goose Part 2. The Golden Goose goes out of control and threatens to turn the entire world into gold. Scrooge and his team have only one chance of stopping it. Finally,
Oh, the irony, Steve. I gotta just say, this is a great episode of the show, you know? I was
yeah,
into
man.
it. Maybe I was
Did-
high, but
It wasn't until recent years, man, that I found out the voice of Scrooge McDuck is Alan Young, the guy who was on Mr. Ed, man. And that guy lived a long life. I think he was like a centenarian, maybe. If he wasn't 100 years, he was close to it, man. And he passed away like 2019, I believe.
his IMDb photo looks like something that was taken pre-World War II, that's for sure. It's crazy.
The guy who was doing the Civil War photos.
Yeah, hell yeah. He had to stand still for like 5 minutes to get that shit taken. It's got all the hitters in it. And one thing that I got to be honest with you, I didn't really like Huey, Dewey, and Louie in the show. It was all about like Scrooge and Launchpad.
Scrooge.
They get taken out real quick, Steve. And there's a lot of like high stakes in this, which I respect. You know,
This is for all the marbles. This is
All
the
of
world,
it.
man.
this is it, dude. And what a apropos way for the world to end in a Scrooge McDuck cartoon. It turns to gold. That's fucking crazy and
Yeah.
cool.
And like, what's with the mongoose? Is it a dog or a mongoose that are from Bangladesh?
Oh yeah, I don't know. These things look like little sick rats, honestly. But I do love the names. We'll get to it. But this is a great episode. Everyone loves DuckTales. Everyone loves the song, Steve. And also shout out to the Nintendo Entertainment System platforming game, which was one of the best cartoon video games, I gotta say, maybe ever. Very hard though.
Did you ever beat that game?
Yeah, I beat it multiple times. I'll tell you, I could probably beat it now still.
Man.
I played it so much.
You got the juice now.
Yeah,
I thought I'd never fucking beat that game.
Dude, I
Put
beat
that on my
that
bucket
one.
list.
That one got beat, but Ninja Turtles 2 or 1, the one with the fucked up graphics and the water level that's impossible. I've only beat that part of it one time and I couldn't do anything after that. It was like
One
when
of these
you
days.
nut and you just can't get it back up, Steve. I was just like, it's too much.
I'm gonna beat that game one day.
But this episode is like part 2. So, part 1, we get a little recap of Scrooge was in Bangladesh. I forgot about his little nemesis that's like his brother with like the beard.
Glomgold.
Yeah, what a weird name. I was like, what's this fucking? I thought his name was like Otis. It's like, no, Glomgold. Glomgold sounds like something that you find on the floor. Like, what is that?
A loogie or something.
I think from the explanation, he sources stuff from Bangladesh, brings it back to, Duckburg, and sells this shit at a market. There's always guys getting rich, Steve. You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
He's selling Bangladeshi carpets and shit, like on a 50% markup.
And unbeknownst to him, one of the things he takes back from Bangladesh is a golden goose. And the Beagle Boys, they're on the hunt for this golden goose, and they track it down and they see that Scrooge has it. So they take the golden goose and turn him into, they put him in like a 24 karat bag, and they turn the nephews into gold.
Yeah, because anything this thing touches turns to gold. So they like put him in a satchel with his legs like coming out, but it turns into solid gold. So he's like kind of trapped in this. But Huey, Dewey, and Louie just get turned into gold statues, which is baller. Like as a rich dude, like if you can't reverse this, I mean, what is the worth of 3 giant golden statues of that? That looks pretty dope. Maybe melt them down too and turn them into something to sell. So blazing bagpipes, Steve, that's where we're at here. Okay. Scrooge is in a golden bag. He's coming in his pants just because that's like probably his dream.
He doesn't have pants.
Yeah, true that. He's just blasting off. And he's got this science guru guy. I think his name's Gyro. I forgot about this dude. Little short beak dude. But he's the science whiz. And he's got a laser that looks like something out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But God damn it, he cannot turn these kids back into fucking ducks, Steve. But they're stuck. So Scrooge finally gets out of his, I forget how he gets out, but he gets out of his little gold fucking blankets. And he's like, well, what the fuck are we going to do here? So all of a sudden, these 2 rat things come into the house, which I love the name, Steve. Dijon and Poupon. I mean, somebody was hungry when they wrote this episode. They were like,
they're from the Brotherhood of the Goose.
Yeah, so these guys actually protect that. They're monks, right? Well, one of them's a monk. One of them is like a pickpocket, I think.
Yeah. Dijon.
Yeah, Dijon's that's a dope ass name though. If I ever had a kid, I might think about naming him that. But they peep Scrooge onto the fact that there's some serious consequences here. If they don't get this fucking golden goose, it's going to start going through these changes, and eventually what it's going to lead to is the end of the world because it's going to turn everything into gold. But thankfully, he has a little fucking tiger blood bottle here that he can, it's water from the fountain that this thing is like usually on, I guess. And if you put it on it, it will like stop the change and they can get it back to the fountain. So basically they need to get this golden goose back to this fountain in Bangladesh. Or, we all look like a fucking pip chalice, Steve.
Yeah, and he tells Scrooge to not waste it all on the nephews, and they have 2 hours to get the golden goose back into this fountain, man. There'll be a second transformation, and everything it sees will turn to gold.
You know, this goose, valuable shit too. I'm surprised this hasn't happened before because I feel like there's other than these two like greedy ass ducks, who wouldn't want this? Steve P. Diddy would be all over this. You know,
Yeah.
some guy that makes fucking jewelry, Jacob the jeweler. This guy would be fucking killing people for this. But Glomgold, Scrooge's arch nemesis, he has it. He's in an abandoned factory, and I thought this was like dope as shit because he's living the dream. You know, he's just like, well, fuck, this is my factory. I'm going to turn this thing into he's just touching shit, making everything gold. The light bulbs, you know, the jerk rag that he left in the corner, everything is gold. So once that's done, he's like, fuck, I'm going to be fucking richer than fucking Scrooge, bitch ass.
Hell yeah, stupid ass brother. And he like steering wheel, the wall, everything from the windows to the wall. And Scrooge and company, they tracked them down. I don't know if they had GPS before GPS.
I think Scrooge just had like kind of like a fucking feeling, Steve. Launchpad was like flying him above Duckburg, and he's like, "There's Glomgold's factory," because he knows his brother has it. So Launchpad he's not a fan of landing correctly, so he does what Launchpad does and just crashes that bitch right into the building, Steve. Thankfully.
Once they get inside, they try to get the goose, but there's all these obstacles in their way. Like
it's the factory itself, Steve. I mean, there's arms coming out of walls that are like mechanical, like just to keep the goose away from the ducks, the Beagle Boys, which that's got to be a wrestling tag team at some point. Like, you know, there's the Dudley Boys. We need to be the Beagle Boys, Steve. Is that it? Is that what our wrestling? I love that. And nobody can get their hands on it, Steve. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, I got it." It's like Ninja Turtles 2 with the ooze. You know, it's just getting kicked around and shit.
All of these hands coming out the wall, like, no, you can't get the goose. It just wasn't its time.
But eventually, Dijon, the pickpocket, he gets it, and he's like, "Oh, I got it! I have the thing." This is how he sounds, guys. I'm not a beagle racist, but see, this is crazy. He's a pickpocket. He's greedy. So fucking Glomgold's like, "You fucking piece of shit," and just throws like change on the ground, and fucking Dijon's like, "Oh," just
it was
goes
like 10 cents. I think he had like $1 and like some change.
That's how, I mean, shout out to the really fucked up like classism in this where the rich ducks are just like throwing change at these dirty, broke people from a different country. That's fucked up.
But Dijon's not only a pickpocket, he's an idiot. Like, you have a golden goose in your hands, bro.
Also, you can hold it like a football and just grab that shit too. Like, you can have your cake and eat it too in that situation. Grab a couple of quarters, go to the fucking smoothie place in Duckburg, and take the golden goose with you, you fucking idiot.
I think they're sending us a message, man. It's kind of like what the record industry does. And just like you said, rich people, they're like, hey, I know we're making millions of dollars off this song, but here's a grill and a necklace. Bye.
Yeah. Hey, they like throw shiny shit at us, and we're like, "Oh, dude!" And they just go like, "Get the kids out of here."
Yeah,
that's what it is, Steve. Damn, this is some fucking really deep shit in DuckTales, and you might be correct about that.
Disney's pretty profound, man.
Cultural anthropology in DuckTales. I love that. He literally not only like gets fucking caught off guard by like 5 cents, he just throws the fucking goose, the one thing they need, right into the hands of the people for like 10 cents. Great job. So Glomduck or Glomgold or whatever the fuck his name is, he's got it, and they fly away. Or no, the thing turns into like a moving duck and flies away on its own. Am I right?
Yeah, I think it just flies out and just wreaks havoc.
Yeah, because it's going through its first transition, Steve.
Yeah,
and the hormones kick in, and it starts flying around and changing everything to gold, including, I think, Glomgold. I think it turns a couple of the people into gold too, because it's full on turning shit into gold, Steve. It's getting crazy.
Everything it touches, man, and
oh man,
it's even hit the news. And as the news reporter is reporting on this golden goose on the loose, she turns to gold.
Goose are terrifying as normal animals, and I'd be terrified if one of those was running at me. This thing, it's not just going to bite you. I mean, it's essentially killing you, Steve, unless somebody can fix it, you know?
And Poupon sees this and he's just like, Dijon, this is all your fault. Like, I never want to see you again.
Man, there was 10 cents, Poupon. Do you know how much pussy we would have in fucking Bangladesh? So now we, cut to later. Dijon's feeling like shit. Poupon's pissed the fuck off. Everyone's just it's the shit's getting out of hand. Everything's gold. Scrooge and Launchpad are now just searching for this goose. They're on a wild goose chase right now, Steve. Seriously.
And Poupon's with them, and like they sneak up on him as the goose. The goose is on a basket. What did I say?
You said Poupon, Steve. I can't. Every time you say this guy's name, I'm an idiot. I'm childish.
And the goose, it ends up flying on the top of a basketball rim, and as it goes through the rim, that's when they catch it. Like Launchpad and Scrooge, they double net it, and like right after that happens, the Beagle Boys show up, and like I think they shoot the goose out of the net.
No, they shoot the fucking because they got the water, Steve, because they got it netted. Dude pulls out the water to pour on the thing. The fucking Beagle Boys pull out multiple nines and just start shooting at people, but catch the bottles. So now they have no water, Steve. The shit's we're worse off now. The Beagle Boys, respect to having guns at you at all times, though. You guys are true criminals. I love that.
They stay gadded up, man.
Hell yeah. Now the goose. It's time for that second transformation, Steve. This time, the gold like smelts off the goose, right? It's now just it just leaves a puddle of gold that starts expanding. The goose just flies away. It's still in the mix, but now the world truly is just turning to gold and like this giant wave of gold, and it's overtaking everything.
It permeates into the grass and it just keeps moving. And the crew, Launchpad, Poupon, and Scrooge, they hop into the car and they escape. And if they can get the goose to the fountain, they realize everything can be reversed. So Scrooge is like, let's get to the airport. So Launchpad, he takes off and he's almost about to leave Scrooge behind. Scrooge, he latches on and he tries to get Poupon to get on, but he gets left behind and Poupon gets Poupon by all the gold.
Yeah, he's a gold Poupon now. And that was their key. Like, they don't know where this fucking fountain is. This fucking guy just was saying fountain. I didn't get any like Google map directions or anything. Like, where are we going? But now they just have to go. They got to figure out like where this goose is, get the goose to Bangladesh. So now they're again on a wild goose chase. Cut to a park where Dijon, the pickpocket, he's feeling shitty. He fucked up, Steve. He spent that last couple of cents on a jerk booth. It wasn't even that cool, and he ran out of time. So now he's just sulking, but comes across the goose. He's like, wait, is that the fucking goose? Shit, and catches it. Starts running because I think that he sees the gold wave. And as he's doing that, Scrooge and Launchpad from the air are like, oh, holy shit, dude's got the goose.
Yeah.
And I forget how they get him. I forget how that happened.
Well, they just descend to the ground and they latch Dijon on with the Golden Goose, and everything's still turning to gold. Even the ocean's turning gold. And
baller alert.
As they're nearing the place where the fountain is, Scrooge tells him, just do what you do best. Just crash. And this is the first and only time in the series, I believe, he doesn't crash. He does a perfect landing.
Smooth, silky smooth, Steve. He's even surprised, but they run into the temple, immediately get stopped by these thuggish, ruggish ass guards that this temple has. They're just like, where is the goose? You know, it's like, get the fuck out of the way. You don't see all this gold. Like, do you guys have a TV? Oh, I'm sorry. And they throw a couple of change at them. They get stopped. But, you know, this is all happening so quick. So somehow they get around them. Launchpad gets the goose, throws it to Scrooge like in a fucking just like I don't even know. I'm going to say Russell Wilson, Steve, gives him a nice moon ball. Scrooge takes it in stride. And this is why I love this episode. With the last breath, the last ditch effort, he's turning to gold, Steve. I'm half gold, 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 gold. And as it gets up here, he gets the duck on the fountain. Just buzzer beater.
Yeah, Steph Curry, man.
So he saves the day. He saves the world, Steve.
You have redeemed yourself, Dijon. And
Yeah,
he tells his brother, now you just need to learn not to steal. Like,
he's
all
like,
right.
starting tomorrow.
Because Scrooge, he can't find his watch or his money belt. And I'm like, bro, like, what do you need a belt for anyway?
Motherfucker, you got a whole fucking building filled with cash you swim in. Give these broke fucks a couple of bills, for God's sake. Stop throwing coins at them.
And that's our lasting image, a millionaire duck running off a thief. Thank you, DuckTales.
Dude, get him off the property immediately. He hires the Beagle Boys after this, Steve. They're his security because they're well equipped.
Like whenever I select DuckTales on Disney Plus, I see the modern version, the CGI version, and I'm just like, bro, those look like ducks on meth. I hate it so much.
Same with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the TV shows. I'm like, I can't watch this.
I keep hearing it's a great show.
No, the movie's great. The show, it's the animation. I don't like the way they
can't
animate
get past it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So, but this though, Steve, this vintage DuckTales, I don't like this is the last one because I don't feel. I mean, pretty great way to just like end the show, but I wish we got like a, like a Sandlot, like Scrooge went on to do this. Like, give me a little,
like some Wonder Years.
Yeah, something where they just disappear as they walk away. Huey went on to go to jail for white collar crimes.
Yeah.
But hell yeah, dude. DuckTales, it was always a favorite. It was one of those shows. I think it was actually like a syndicated show that was on after school, but I think at one point it was also something that came on before like the proper Saturday morning lineups. So it just filled that gap,
Was it Saturday morning? I feel like they didn't.
It was definitely on like at school days. Like there was some time where it was syndicated where like maybe you got off school and it was on. But I do feel like if you got up and say you were up at like 7 a.m. on a Saturday and, they usually didn't start cartoon lineups until about like 8:30. Those couple that got you in like this, Chippendales, Young James Bond, I think, or like Young somebody. I remember. I forget who it was. Maybe Young Indiana Jones. I forget.
Okay.
Something. It was like some weird cartoons, but hell yeah, dude. DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck. This is what made us the way the world is, Steve. This is what we aspired to be, capitalists. Throwing money at the poor.
But in 1994, American serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer is murdered in his cell, and the world would be a better place, at least a little bit.
I love that also, like, doesn't the guy who did it, he just is like, that's his celebrity. He like will tell you about it, I feel like. But shout out to him. Maybe he got a pass. Remember the rumor that he died with like a broomstick up the ass? Well, that was the rumor. I remember being told that in like maybe junior high or I forget, but somebody just like, and it persisted for a long time, but I don't think it happened, Steve. I think he was just beat to death.
Yeah, he was discovered on the floor of the bathrooms of the gym suffering from extreme head wounds. He had been severely bludgeoned about the head and face with a 20-inch metal bar, and his head had also been repeatedly struck against the wall in the assault. Although he was still alive and rushed to a nearby hospital, he was pronounced dead an hour later. And Anderson had been beaten with the same instrument, and he died from his wounds. Jesse Anderson, fellow inmate.
I think also it was like whenever somebody interviewed the guy about it, because he went on record like many times like talking about why he did it. And it always just kind of made me laugh because I think Dahmer was in there like fucking with people like in the chow, like they're eating like lunch or whatever, and he'd like make direct eye contact with people and be like he was fucking with people and shit and saying, I'm talking about eating human beings and stuff and other weird shit too. But yeah, man, good job, dude.
Bravo. And
Let
who
him
was
out.
this hero of the day?
He probably did some fucking crazy shit if he was in a jail that Jeffrey Dahmer was in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Christopher J. Scarver Sr.
hmm.
He had kids,
Oh man. Well, there you go.
and that'll be their moment in the sun. But 1997, Tenacious D debuts on HBO with the episode The Search for Inspirado and Angel in Disguise. First, Jack and Kyle have to think of a new song in a week to enter the open mic contest.
Yeah. The show was born out of Mr. Show with Bob and David. Like, I believe that they appeared, they definitely had appearances on the show, but
They did.
then they were like this is true, you know, they were a band, they were doing this, and then they made a show about it and dramatized it. And it's
And
great.
Mr. Show was still going on at the time, and what a 97 for Jack Black. We just talked about 2 weeks ago of how he was in a movie with Bruce Willis, getting his arm sawn off, shot off, and just blown to shreds, man. Very graphic. You know, you get blown away by Bruce Willis, and then 2 weeks later, you have your own show on HBO, man. So shout out to Jables.
When did Cable Guy come out?
Cable Guy was 96, I believe.
I mean, he's fresh off that too, Steve. He was in Cable Guy.
Fresh off Biodome, which Tenacious D made an appearance in. The Fan, he was in that with Robert De Niro in 96. He was in Mars Attacks in 96. So this is a nice run. And we talked about this with other people, man. Like Jack Black, for me, was one of those people where, like, once I realized he was in Tenacious D and doing all that, I look at stuff from the 90s and it's like, whoa, dude, I did not know he went that far back. You know what I mean?
He was just, and this is it was kind of funny how it works, because then once people saw he had musical like talent and stuff, like he was in that movie Empire Records. It was kind of like a music centric movie. And he
in
was
that.
also in School of Rock eventually as well, which is a great movie. And he's just, I mean, rocking constantly after this for a while. But Tenacious D, dude, once I found out about them, I was like fascinated and just like consumed with Tenacious D for a while. Like, it was really all me and Jordan watched, listened to, and just, I didn't know about it when it was coming out in 97. I wish I did, because I would have been much cooler when I was going into college. But I mean, what a great show. It's basically like they've created a way to make music videos for their songs and put a little like story in it that's hilarious, you know?
They reign supreme.
Yeah, so this one, we start off, it always starts at the open mic. Paul F. Tompkins is the open mic host. He always delivers a message that is specific to the episode that Tenacious D wants him to relay to the open mic audience. In this episode, he warns them, if you want your asses blown off, stay in the room. And then Tenacious D comes on and just starts rocking. And this is a song about the history of Tenacious D, Steve. And you know, Kyle starts getting it, and it's fantastic. It's, we ride like kings across the seas, across the devil's plains. We've walked with Jesus and his cross. He did not die in vain. No. Bing, ding, 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 ding. And it's, I mean, it's epic. It's epic as hell. And they're just, you know, they rocked it, Steve. And they live in that glory for a solid like day, you know, where they're just like, we killed that shit in the apartment. But they get a call because they did rock, Steve. And the Paul F. Tompkins, the open mic guy, is like, hey, Jack, loved you guys. Would love to have you on the show next week. But you got to figure out a new song, because this one you've been playing about you guys, it's just getting old. So if you figure out a new song, we want you here. If not, don't show up.
I can zippity doo-dah you a song.
Yeah, dude. So now it's time. This is the title, Steve. This is a search for Inspirado. They have 5 days to write a new song. So day one, you know, Jack's soaking in a like tub in the living room, and he's like, you know, Inspirado isn't something that you just manufacture. You know, you find it in a stillness of quietude. you know? And then I always love this because this is his like weird comedy. He just pulls this washcloth off and just like fucking takes a nice swig of water out of it and, you know, lives in that.
And they're stuck. So now they got like 3 days left, and they're starting to kind of get a little antsy with each other.
Yeah, dude. I mean, well, because, you know, day 2, they just were there. They were just, you know, writer's block. Day 3, Jack's like, dude, all you need to do is find the rhythm. So, you know, and he starts doing this, and they both start getting into snapping. He's like, put some stank on it, put some stank on it. And he's like, they get into it, and they get into like a heavy sesh, and he's like, make sure you're taping. Make sure it's taping. Here's the taping, and Kyle's like, yep. And they finish it, and then they cut, and Jack's like, always make sure you hit record, because Kyle thought it was on, but it wasn't, Steve. So they missed all this. They missed this.
And then day 3, I believe.
No, this is day 4, Steve.
Day 4?
Yeah. Day 4. Rocket sauce. Take 1. All of my fucking rocket sauce. All of my rocket sauce. Hey, rocket. And then they realize that what they're singing is just a remix of the Ice Cream Truck song.
Yeah.
And Kyle's like, dude, that's the ice cream song. And Kyle, I know. They're really, it's getting testy, Steve.
And then they think you got to get out of the apartment. You got to walk with the wolves. You have to swim with the whales. Or just treat yourself to a hot fudge sundae
with nuts. Yeah, so Kyle did all this epic shit. He caught a fish with his mouth in the ocean, and Jack's just in like a kiddie pool eating a melted sundae. This is day 5, Steve. This is it. This is crunch time. So they get back in the living room. Kyle's got all this. They both have these experiences. He's like, we're just going to kick it, okay? I'm going to say kick it, and you're just kick it. So could just come on, kick it. Come on. And then he's like, come on, Kyle, fucking kick it. And he's like, we got a crucial clutch cargo gig coming up, Kyle, and you don't give a shit.
You fucker. You fucking bitch.
And Kyle's like, you know what, dude? I quit. And that's, I mean, now it's over. The dream's dead, Steven. Jack's just living in hell, his own personal hell. He's crying. He's ripping up demo tapes. He's punching holes through a very flimsy LA wall to the point where he punches it and just like this heavenly light just comes through, Steve. Is it Inspirado? I don't know.
Yeah. Were those apartments that flimsy in LA?
The walls were thin. That's for goddamn sure. I don't know if they were that thin, but I definitely heard a lot of personal arguments I probably shouldn't have. So now Kyle's quit the band, Steve. But Jack broke through the wall, and now we cut to the next open mic. But it's Jack going solo, and he sings his new song. Last week, Kyle quit the band. Now we're back together. And we see Kyle's here. So they've gotten back together, and it keeps going. Misunderstanding. Didn't understand. It doesn't matter. Now we're back together again. La 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 la. Couldn't split up Kato and Nash. That's true. Couldn't split up Tango and Cash. That's also true. This is our song of exalted joy because we only came to kick some ass. Rock the fucking house and kick some ass. What we gonna do with all the cash? Smoke hash. And then we thrash. We throw a big old bash, y'all. And it's crazy, Steve. They get into it. It gets into it. I love the acoustic like solo jams that they get into together. Oh, yeah. We talk about rappers being able to play off each other and like intertwine shit. I love these guys as a duo because they just get those like tasty licks together. It's so awesome, dude. And that's it, Steve. But I also just have to point out every time Jack finishes a song in the open mics, he ends it by like knocking the mic over and being like, booyah! It's always like this very dramatic ending that I love too. He's the ultimate front man, dude. David Lee Roth and him. You know, it's like that's the level he was playing at in this. And what I love about Tenacious D too is like it's a joke. You know, it's a funny song, it's a comedy song, but these motherfuckers could rock
They
the
will rock.
fucking. I've seen them play live, Steve. I was lucky enough to see that. It's amazing. It's just as
Oh,
good as what you think it is.
I can only imagine, man. And I'm sure they had the visuals, like they went Vince McMahon with their shit because by the time you saw them, they probably had more of a budget.
Mine was at Jimmy Kimmel, so they didn't have the full shebang bang. I didn't see
Okay.
like a full concert. God, I wish. Still hope to. God bless. I hope they get back together so I could do that. But in like the DVDs that we saw, like that I had that showed the live concerts, it's minimal. But I mean, they have like a giant Satan.
Yeah.
One of their buddies comes out dressed like Sasquatch at one point because they reference Sasquatch and stuff. So yeah, they play around. And they had a lot of great, another thing, we'll get to the next thing, but they have a lot of great covers of just like random shit, just random like TV theme songs, other songs, like great rock songs and stuff. And they do
Yeah.
those. Like they used to do the Spider-Man theme song, like Spider-Man, Spider-Man. They do that and like get in a fight with a guy dressed like Spider-Man on stage and shit.
That's so awesome.
Hell yeah.
But Kyle, he can't make it to the next rehearsal or open mic because he's going to be playing at his sister's wedding.
Yeah. And Jack's like, no, dude. You can't do that. You can't go solo. If there's some agent in the fucking crowd at your sister's wedding and she gives you a fucking contract right then and there. All this work I've paid, all this time I put in to fucking nurture your fucking bullshit. And Kyle's like, dude, do you want me to ask my sister if you could come and the D will play? And Jack's like, no, but thank you for asking. You may play the wedding, Kyle.
And the next one is Angel in Disguise. And Jack falls in love with Flarna, a girl he met who he had a lot in common with. When Kyle gets jealous, he makes a bold move to steal her from Jack.
We're at the open mic backstage this time. And they're just kind of like, you know, getting the fingers like tuned up, getting everything ready to go, limbering up. And Jack's like, Kyle, would you take a bullet for me, man? Kyle's like, no.
Well, before that, I heard he's like, if I was in a wheelchair, would you nurse me, feed me? Yeah. Would you read for me? Well, why can't you read for yourself? Because I don't fucking feel like it.
I love Dave. We do get a David Cross cameo. He comes in. He's like the guy performing before them at the open mic. He comes in like a nun costume. He's like, killed it. Killed. Did you guys hear that?
Killed. Did you see me? I killed.
So they get out and Paul F. Tompkins reads his like little statement that he got. And he's like, this is what Tenacious D has requested this week. Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Molly Hatchet couldn't be here tonight, but they all had sex and are proud to announce the birth of their two-headed baby, Tenacious D. I love that.
This is actually like my favorite Tenacious D song.
A lot of backstage Betties out there, Steve. How's it going? That's the first thing I'll say to you. How's it going? Are you flowing? Listen, honey. Thinking about a couple things to say to you. Showing, growing. Man, I'd like to place my hand upon your fucking sexy ass and squeeze. And squeeze.
Take off your blouse and your underpants and take a look.
Cause hear me and KG come naked out of the side hatch with the oils and perfumes and incense. Now you're moving. Put on a cool 70s groove. Bam, bam. A funky groove to buck to. A funky groove to buck to. Dude. I'm telling you, listen to the pipes, Steve. You know, and listen to me. It makes me better singing the fucking words, Steve. They're that good. But they kill it. They go backstage, and then just a nice, sexy little tenderoni, comedian. I forget what this lady's name is off the top of my head. I didn't look it up. She's a comedian. She was actually like, she's pretty funny. I forget what it is. They're sitting there and she's like, "Hey guys, great fucking show." And she starts going into it and she's like, "So which one of you guys is gonna fuck me?" And Kyle's like, "Right here." And
Yeah.
Jack's like, I know that's what you think we are, but I'm not that guy. That's the front man, Jack. I'm back here. I'm just a normal guy,
Don't confuse the art with the artist.
Yeah. And he gets into this speech and the lady just leaves as he's like getting to the end of it. And Kyle's like, he looks back, she's gone. And Kyle's like, "Dude, that chick was good to go, dude. What are you talking about?" And Jack's like, "Dude, can't do it, bro. Got a crush on this chick I met, Flarna. Fucking, she's an angel in disguise, dude. She's so beautiful." And Kyle's like, "Dude, tell me about her." He's like, "Dude, she's perfect. She loves Satan." Dude, you love
Spinal
Satan.
piercings?
Dude, you love spinal piercings. Oh, dude, and she loves clogging too. Yes.
Yeah.
And she works over at Captain Ed's, Steve, their favorite place. And Kyle's like, "Oh, that's cool, dude. I gotta go. I gotta go."
Before you leave, like, "Kyle, I have this medallion for you." And it's the best friend ever.
It's a friendship medallion, Steven. It's sizable. It's a heavy piece of fucking metal. So he takes it, he's like, "Thanks," and just pieces out. And Jack starts strumming away. He's like, "I'm gonna write the Flarna song now. You go do whatever you gotta do. I'm gonna kick this around in my head a little bit." And he starts plugging away. He's like, "Flarna is an angel in disguise. Look into my eye." And then we hear it starts going, but then we cut to the next day and we see Flarna. And Flarna's, I mean, this could be a Tinder hookup, Steve. This is a wild child. She's got baby doll heads as as like titty cups. That's wild enough. But she steps over what might be a homeless guy, but it turns out it's Kyle. Fully just in like a business casual outfit, but he's like, "Oh, hey, she's like, the store's closed. Come back later."
Well, how long are you going to be closed? Because I'm getting my spine pierced. Oh, I have a spine piercing. You do?
Oh my God. And they just, he's using all the information Jack gave him to just like seduce this woman. And so he's putting the moves on. Jack's approaching and he's singing his like, "Flarna is an angel in disguise. Look into my eye." So he sees Kyle clogging away in front of Flarna and he's like, "Oh, you son of a bitch." And he's like, "Kyle." And Kyle looks back. He's like, "Jack, I love her, dude." It's so dramatic. And then it just gets full like Shaw Brothers karate and it snaps into another music video "With karate, I'll kick your ass from here to Tiananmen Square. Oh yeah, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick your fucking derriere. Yeah. You broke the rules. Now I pull out of your pubic hair. You motherfucker. And so now it's a full on like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Temu fight where they're using crazy like karate tactics like magic flying baggy, and he like blows it, knocks it, and flies over Jack. Jack pulls out some change, Scrooge McDuck style, and is like, "Magic flying, you lose change," and uses that to like attach Kyle to a telephone pole on Van Nuys Boulevard. I love that.
And then he breaks out and he's wearing the same exact outfit. And yeah, I like how Jack Black Liu Kang kicks his head off.
Kyle puts it back on. But then as the fight's happening, Flarna and Captain Ed's is being robbed by a masked gunman, Steve. So that guy comes out with Flarna at gunpoint. I don't know why. Nobody was even noticing him, but fuck it. And Jack's like, "You don't touch her." And the guy he's ready for business, takes a couple of shots, and Kyle, as the bro he is, Steve jumps in front of the bullets and takes a bullet for JB. Kyle took a bullet for me. Now I've got to rock for 3. KG and me. Don't forget about Tenacious D. Oh, I took a bullet for JB. Now I'm in heaven and I can see your decision to rescue me was definitely poop spooky. So we think he's dead, Steve, because he appears as an angel, but then he shows up on stage alive, and Jack's like, wait, this is fucking with my head. I totally thought you were dead. Just remember what you said. And Kyle pulls out his medallion. The medallion made of bulletproof lead. And there it is, Steve. There it is.
I love it.
And shout out to Captain Ed's. I lived in Van Nuys, California for a long time. And Captain Ed's 5-minute walk, pretty close to Van Nuys and Victory in Van Nuys and Van Owen Boulevard. I bought fake urine to pass a drug test for a job as a younger man. There. I did get the job. And so also quick notice to anybody who's trying to pass a piss test, they work. So just get that fake pee. Anywho, the lady who was the chick who was down to fuck in this show is Laura Keitlinger.
Laura Keitlinger.
Yeah. She was kind of like one of the first like sexy women comics in the 90s. She kind of like started that a little bit because she had that. She's a hottie. She definitely is a little hottie.
For a comedian.
Yeah, hell yeah. But this is it, Steve. This is episode 1. And I think we actually get 6 skits in total. So 3 full episodes. But watch all of these. These things are fucking great.
And they should have made more. But at the end of this one, they're back wrapping up the episode. And Jack Black's like, if you want to read more about the people in today's episode, you'd want to subscribe to the Tenacious D Encyclopedia.
Yeah, dude. It fucking rocks hard. And that's it. We're here. Tenacious D in full effect. Strong, Steve. Best buds.
I love it, man. But also in 1997, just as Tenacious D is beginning the grind on MTV airs its final episode. And yeah, man, this was like the 90s Soul Train.
Yeah, I see. I remember watching this, but did they show actual videos? Like, would they kind of cut in between videos and like the people just like?
If I'm not mistaken, they would be interspersed. Like they'd be like, oh, and Eric B and Rakim with "Don't Sweat the Technique," and then like people will be dancing, and then they'll cut to like snippets of the video,
and it'd just be like a happy guy with like a blonde, like flat top, like.
And
Could never do it, Steve.
Eric Nies was the host. I think he was from the Real World. Yeah, he was one of the original cast members in Real World New York.
Yeah, he had like flippy hair, right? He's like an Italian dude.
He's from Jersey, so it's a good chance he was.
Dude, MTV's the grind though, dude. When they would have it at like spring break and shit. See all those hot college chicks just fucking dancing when we were like teenagers. Would be like, I want to go to Daytona Beach so bad. I want to go there. And then you go there, it's like, this is gross. This is not what I thought.
Over 1,000 episodes, 1,400.
Eric Nies. This is not the guy I thought was we were talking about. I remember. Wasn't there a black guy that was a host too? I thought, but maybe I'm misremembering this show. I didn't watch it too much because I was a fat kid who could not dance and had no business being grinding at that point. So I just wasn't into this.
But ironically, on that same day in 97, the final episode of Beavis and Butthead airs on MTV. And I felt like it was the end of an era, but it was time, man. At this point, South Park was on air, and I think it was just like it was the New Kids on the Block. We Beavis and Butthead for years, they were the cool ones. You know, you couldn't wait for that new episode to drop after Grind or Real World or something. But it kind of ran its course.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do with what that is. You know, it's a great show, and they had it covered a lot, and it was hilarious. But they're not doing any the characters. There's no growth in the characters. You know,
There's only so much you can do. And at this point, Mike Judge had already started King of the Hill, which is a way better show. Way better show.
God damn it! Stop whacking at my tool shed.
Yeah. And who would have thought, based off of that character, there would be a even greater show?
It's funny how that works out sometimes. Like, something you watch and then eventually it's just like when we watched Family Matters, it wasn't supposed to be Urkel, and then they find out Urkel's the shit, and it's like, well, this is the show now. It just they created another show, thankfully, for Mike Judge to get that bag.
Yeah. And
I love that.
And it was a long bag, man. I think King of the Hill went from 96 to 2009, maybe.
You got syndicated. That's the dream. That was the 90s dream for anybody who made a TV show. You get to that syndication point, and that's when you're just paid forever, And he deserves it. He's a fucking genius, dude. That guy is a fucking legend. Idiocracy also.
Idiocracy.
Remember, this motherfucker saw into the future. We're living it now.
Yeah.
And he made everybody was like, it's hilarious. This is like a hilarious spoof of things. And it's like, this is basically now a documentary. Just
cartoonists are visionaries, man. I mean, that's why the whole Simpsons trope is a thing. Like they're really deep into the satire bag. Same thing with Seth MacFarlane. Like you could probably look at a Family Guy episode from like early 2000s and be like, man, that applies today too.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I think comedians in general, stand up and people who write comedy tend to be, and you see this with like people like Conan O'Brien, they're like ultra intelligent people. There's something that takes a really smart mind to write good comedy sometimes. Sometimes you can just write some guy with his ass out, like you can do something like fart comedy, which I love. I'm not saying anything bad, but sometimes it's like, there's a formula and there's people that are so smart. It just comes naturally to them. And I think everything Mike Judge, Office Space, think about all the, we can just keep saying things and it's like legendary comedy. So that guy definitely up there.
Any callbacks, honorable mentions, or cakeosaurs?
I got to just keep shouting the praises of Tenacious D. Watch the show. Watch them, get the Masterworks DVD collection. I know it's old tech. It's worth it. You get live performances. You get skits that aren't the show, and you get the show. So Tenacious D, are they the greatest rock band of all time? I'd say yes. And I would urge Jables and KG, have a peace talk. maybe there's no issues at all. And they just had to say that because of the times that we live in, that they had to break up, but just come back, dude. The world needs Tenacious D in the worst way right now.
We should start a pledge, Matt.
Let's do it. We need to start a fucking petition. That's what we need to do. We need to get names on fucking paper. Bring back the D. Free the D's, Steve. Pause.
With our social media following, over 4,000 on Instagram, 64,000 on Facebook, 16,000 on TikTok.
Free the D. Free the D. Free the D. Power to the people. I'm going to do that, Steve. I'm actually going to put a petition out. I don't know what the process is, but we got 2 names, and I'm going to count Jordan in as a third without even talking to him because I know he supported it.
Yeah. Got to make it happen, man. And all I got is 1990 Wonder Years is airing The Sixth Man. And Kevin, I realize not only is he a little bitch, the Savage Brothers are bitches. I used to praise them growing up because I thought they were cool. Like, oh, they're brothers. The dude from Boy Meets World is the brother of Wonder Years, and they were in Little Monsters and the NES movie, but like they're pieces of shit. And in this episode, Kevin Arnold, he sees that his buddy Paul, who he used to beat up on the playgrounds, and every time they play one-on-one, he'd always win. But now Paul's trying out for the basketball team, and he's actually getting good. So Kevin tries to throw some salt in this game because he's like, man, I can't have him. He's going to leave me behind. So he comes into his tryout. He's like, hey, Paul, what's up, man? Get him. And that just throws Paul off. So Kevin, you're a bitch for that, man.
And that's
Fred
fucked
Savage.
up, Kev. That's
Yeah.
fucked up.
And fuck you, Fred Savage and Ben Savage. I still like those movies though, and I'll still watch those shows. But I'm watching it with in mind that you're all pieces of shit.
And also the Princess Bride, Steve. We got to just separate the art from the artist. I'm with you on this. I think he's kind of a turd too, but you know, he did help direct a couple of It's Always Sunnies. He's in that mix, and he's in the Wizards, Steve. He fucking got that Power Glove fucking joints.
Yeah, he's still a whore. But in 1995, Frasier's airing The Last Time I Saw Maris, and I think this is a important plot point within the series, right? Because this is like the beginning of the end between Niles and his wife. Or am I wrong?
It keeps going on with them. I don't remember specifically what this episode happens, but they go through like a lengthy divorce that I think goes on through a season. They tease like him getting back together with her because, you know, he's in love with Daphne the whole show. But at one point she's about to get married and he's single. So it's one of those will they, won't they things. And Maris will kind of come in and hijack that. Like when they finally do get divorced, he has to do a bunch of, you know, he has to help her out. And at one point, Maris, spoiler alert, murders her boyfriend and escapes the country in a crate of art or something. Like that's kind of, I think, how the last time we actually hear about Maris.
That is some weird and wild stuff indeed.
Yeah. Never see the bitch ever,
Never seen
which
bitch.
I love.
It's like Nanny on Muppet Babies. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg, bitch. And check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm and our guy Clark the Shark on podcast. This is Steve G and Mad G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the flat kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Cause here Steve and me come naked out of the side hatch with the oils and perfume and incense. Now you're grooving. Put on a cool 70s groove.
no.
A funky groove, no fuck to